we'll do today friction in fluids. Friction in solids is over. अगर हमें टाइम मिला तो हम आज मास एंड वेट भी पढ़ेंगे, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है. और इसके बाद एक और टॉपिक होगा फ्लोटिंग एंड सिंकिंग, because we'll study topic wise, as I said. Something is related to some syllabus, something is not related to some. So after that we will take a course of our next chapter. देखते हैं आज कितना होता है, ठीक है. So today we study about friction in fluids. हमने friction in solids देख लिया है. Our topic today is friction in fluids. Interesting discussion करेंगे, सीखेंगे, ठीक है. Friction in fluids. तो पहला चीज होता है सॉलिड, तो हमें पता है. ये एक नया वर्ड आ गया फ्लूइड. इसका मतलब क्या है? समथिंग ऐसा नहीं है, पेन भी स्लिप करता है आजकल. समथिंग दैट फ्लोज, जो फ्लो करता है, जो फ्लो करता है उसमें क्या रहता है? फ्लूइडिटी. फ्लूइडिटी, राइट. अगेन सम बैड एग्जांपल्स, you know, some loose cow dung, if you see, then the loose cow dung has a tendency to flow across. हमें याद रहता है ना, बैड एग्जांपल्स हमेशा याद रहता है. मैं रसमलाई भी बोल सकता था, जानबूझ के नहीं बोला. जो चीज फ्लो करता है उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? फ्लूइडिटी, है ना. तो स्टमक अपसेट हो जाता है तो तुम भी फ्लूइड मोशन में चले जाते हो. सो एनीथिंग दैट फ्लोज इज नोन एज फ्लूइड. अब यहाँ पे जब एनी समथिंग दैट फ्लोज कहते हैं तो हम लोग पहले हमारे दिमाग में सबसे आता है दैट वी थिंक दैट इट्स ओनली लिक्विड दैट फ्लोज. Not like that. It can be a gas also, right? When you are on a two-wheeler and you are riding, say sitting in front when you were a kiddo, or you are sitting behind, don't you feel the air that is striking your body? You know, you feel the air breeze. So we say anything that flows is known as a fluid. Fluids always have fluidity. बह के जाएगा. And in terms of fluidity, we say we have got liquids and we have got gas. ठीक है. Now you are going to study. So our topic will be now friction in fluids. So I'm breaking it up now. Friction in liquids and friction in gas, or rather I should use a better English word called friction encountered in liquids and friction encountered in gas. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है अभी धीरे धीरे, ठीक है. Whenever you encounter friction in liquids, let's say I make you walk through water which is say little bit thick muddy water. So how will you walk? You can't walk that straight. ऐसे भी स्विमिंग पूल में आप वॉक करने की कोशिश करो, आप ऐसे वॉक कर पाते हो? ऐसे आप धीरे धीरे वॉक करते हो ना. समथिंग that is pulling you back. वहां whenever you're dealing with friction in liquids and gas, friction का जो the frictional force which we used to call as frictional force in solid, इसका नाम चेंज हो जाता है. इसे हम कहते हैं ड्रैग. ड्रैग इज समथिंग व्हिच इज ड्रैगिंग यू बैक. भटकती हुई आत्मा की तरह आपको वापस पुल करेगा, है ना. इमेजिन you are walking through swimming pool, then what happens? Something drags you back. If you are you know on a car with its sunroof open और आपने सर ऊपर निकाल दिया है, then you feel that something is dragging you back. And all girls with long hair, you can do all those fashionable photo shoots with your hair flying back, because it's all about a force which pulls you back, and that is known as drag. बेटा लाइट है, लाइट चला लेना, बेसिन के ऊपर ही है देख. उसको हम कहते हैं ड्रैग कहते हैं, ठीक है. आइए अब सबसे पहले देखते हैं वाटर को एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं. सो वाटर में आप क्या एनकाउंटर करते हो? आप एनकाउंटर करते हो ड्रैग. डू यू फील इट? You try to walk through it, you feel drag. If you are trying to row a boat also, you will feel there's a lot of, and this drag is much more than friction in solids. Solids में फिर भी एक body ऐसे move कर जाता है. Friction में, liquids में जिसको move कराना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. Ask about in olden days when ships used to sail from one place to another, slaves were kept. Slaves were kept, and those slaves used to row the boat. If you see old beautiful movies called Ben-Hur and all, then you'll see they used to be whipped and they keep on rowing the boat. Okay, yeah. Very less, minimal. There will be any type of friction will have heat. The concept of heat means, again you are dragging me, but still let's discuss. An ice cream at -20 and a Cadbury's Dairy Milk at -2 degrees. which is more hot? -2 degree. Heat in heat, when you talk in terms of language or literature, heat matlab garmi. But in terms of physics and engineering, heat is all associated with temperature difference. Something is at -26, something is at -2. This is a hot body. So heat जो है ना, आप subjective बोल रहे हो, आप गर्मी को heat बोलते हो, हम तो ये भी बोलते हैं रेफ्रिजरेटर के अंदर भी heat है. The heat right now is maintained at what? 1 degree Celsius. The refrigerator compartments are generally at 1 and the deep freezers are at -23. उसे भी हम क्या कहते हैं? Heat ही कहते हैं. A lower temperature gives you cold. तो जो आप heat कह रहे हो ना, heat तो develop होगा, आप उसको sense नहीं कर पा रहे हो. Your question was, when you walk through water, do you develop heat? Yes, there will be heat. Heat is nothing to, you have to now get out of your literature mind. Literature mind means heat means something, garmi lag gaya. In physics, heat is anything whether there's a temperature difference and then we can associate heat. Something at 0 degree centigrade, something at -2. 0 degrees thing is at having more heat as compared to the body at -2. ये बात समझ में आया? Physics और engineering में हम cold नहीं पढ़ते हैं. Everything is heat. Heat at low, heat at low. Okay, so in water we'll have drag, right? Similarly, when you encounter air, you also encounter drag. Now let's see. Walking in water becomes difficult due to drag. Agreed? Walking in water becomes difficult due to drag. And let's go back to some BC century out here. And we used to have what? We used to have sails and all fitted, right? Imagine. So if you are shipping from one destination to another, and the airflow is in your direction, at that time it used to help you. आपने देखा पुराने movies, if you try to see all old movies, then any movies which takes you to say some historic times, then you will always see that those are fitted with sails and rafts. Okay, so even in modern day when people do yacht, people do that as a adventure sport. All you have to do is to take care of the wind. If the wind is blowing in this direction or the air is blowing in this direction, at that case it is assisting you. Are you understanding? It will help to take the boat away. Rowing is not that much necessary, but it was never like that. Sometimes you will be sailing on a course in which the wind is absolutely opposite to you. At that case, what you have to do? You have to row. And when you row, you are encountering two different issues. One is the water drag. Ek to uske liye. That's why people who used to row, and rowing is such an exercise, it gives you beautiful muscles and biceps. So you will be rowing, you are encountering the water drag. Second, your ship is sailing in a direction where the wind is now flowing in this direction. Have you understood? You have to encounter the air drag also. काफी मुश्किल हो जाता है. Another thing that we use in our airline language, okay? Like suppose you have an aircraft, okay? Suppose this is your aircraft, okay? This is your aircraft. You will find that suppose you're going to Delhi and you're flying from Hyderabad, okay? You will find usually the travel time is around 2 hours. Sometimes you will find at 1 hour 45 minutes the pilot will land the aircraft. They will say there were winds that assisted you. Those winds are known as tailwinds. Means your aircraft is flying in the direction of the wind. This is a very, very favorable thing for pilots and aviation guys. We call them as tailwinds. So you will find that the distance has been reduced. On the same day, there was some flight at that time which is coming from Delhi to Hyderabad. That flight will take more than the course time. And if they want to reach in time, they have to burn more fuel. No aviation company wants to do that. So they'll say that we have headwinds. This is the language we use, headwinds. Okay, headwinds are not favorable for the time concerned for the journey. Headwinds will increase the journey. So in literature also we use this word. We say, how did your business do this year? We say, well, the business did not show that much of profitability. We had a lot of headwinds. We had workers' strike. We had COVID. So they are taken as headwinds. Means they were those conditions which did not favor the business. Okay. Sometimes we say that yes, the business this year was very good because we had a lot of tailwinds. Tailwinds in the business means that we got cheap labor, raw material was less, diesel cost was down, right? Proper electricity was available. So these are words that we use in literature also. And if an aircraft, though not in a syllabus, encounters winds from this direction, that is known as crosswinds. Crosswinds will make the aircraft sway away.
So that would create turbulence.
Yes. Now turbulence is something different. Turbulence is Not only crosswinds, turbulence is also with difference of air pressure, air pockets that you will land in. So the current airport of Hong Kong is the new airport. Before that, the Hong Kong airport was Kowloon. Kowloon airport, if you go and see videos in YouTube, that is the airport which faces maximum turbulence. You will see aircrafts which are landing like this actually going away. Somehow they are on runway. You can see videos. Crosswinds, Lufthansa landing. The flight will not be straight at all. The flight will sway away this way. You'll think as if it is going across the runway. It requires a lot of control at that time. So headwinds and tailwinds. So what did we discuss so far? We are discussing friction in fluids. Friction in fluids have got a typical name called drag. Friction can be encountered in liquids also. Friction can be encountered in gases also. In our daily lives, water is one in which we are walking in water becomes difficult due to drag, as well as when we are traveling and we feel the frictional force or the drag force which is opposing us as we travel through a two-wheelers and all. Right. Now, at the end of the day, from the perspective of motion, friction is something which is always opposing motion, right? So we need to take care. Now look at it. Now say, suppose if you see the front panel, let's see the front panel of a bus, okay? This is the front panel of a bus. Say this is your bus. The front panel of a bus is typically a rectangular big block. As such, the amount of surface that is coming in contact with air is very high. So the drag force felt by a bus will be much, much more. This design we call is not aerodynamic. Then you'll ask, why did you then design the bus this way? For more stability. Because the bus is designed to have more people. This is the design. Whereas if you see an aircraft, okay, or if you see cars these days, cars, the structure of the car will be made in such a manner that it is aerodynamic. This thing is known as streamlining. Streamlining. So if you do streamlining, the air which comes and strikes generally goes over it. Does not cause that much of a... So have you seen birds? Birds are aerodynamically designed. So we try to copy the structure of birds. If you see, how many of you have heard about Concorde aircraft? Okay, Concorde is an aircraft which is now taken back. Concorde was actually done, Air France used to fly in at Virgin Atlantic. They used to fly from Europe to US, which is 8 hours. They will go in 3.5 hours. Concorde has been pulled back. It used to be very costly flight. Very rich people used to afford it. So sometimes go in YouTube and see a Concorde. A Concorde's the radome, we call this as the radome, is not straight. It will be bent and just like the beak of an aircraft. You can make it. Okay. You can make it straight, but that's not done. And it will have wings which will be all aerodynamic. The more aerodynamic you are designed. So if you see a Vande Bharat or train, if you see the loco of Vande Bharat, or if you see bullet trains, even their locos won't be like this. Their locos will be all like this. The more aerodynamic you make, the lesser will be the friction. The air will be actually going across it. So this is a word you should remember. Like, how do you increase friction? You increase friction in solids by making it. No, in solids, how do you increase friction? By making the surfaces more rough, more irregular, or more abrasive. How do you reduce friction? By polishing the surface, by applying lubricants, by applying oils and grease. How do you reduce friction? No. How do you reduce drag? By not aerodynamic. The word is streamlining. This is the key word that they will use. Streamlining means you are giving an aerodynamic structure to your thing. So if you are more flat, you will be facing more and more friction as you go. So the bus actually faces a lot of drag as the bus moves. Air drag. Whereas when an aircraft flies, it cannot have a flat face. If it is a flat face, but however, the someone asked a question, just drag sometimes help you? Drag will not say drag helps us. Drag, the word itself is negative. It always pulls you back. However, it is dependent on the direction of the air breeze. If the air breeze is against you, drag is coming into effect. But if the air breeze is in your favor, at that time it is no more a drag. Now look at this ship. Suppose the air is in this direction. It is not encountering that much of air friction, but it will still encounter water friction. Drag will be there. And the way we minimize drag is by making our structures streamlined, or we call the word as streamlines give you an aerodynamic structure. We don't have more in this chapter from this concept. Any questions that you can have on friction in liquids? Okay, so quick revision on friction. You have heard about friction is a force that opposes the force that causes motion. जिस force के लिए motion हो रहा है उसको oppose करेगा. Friction we studied under two heads, solids and liquids. So if we study friction and solids, then friction happens due to the irregularity between two surfaces, which causes a bit of interlock. And friction depends upon how rough your surface are and how heavy, how much of mass you have. The more mass you have, the more is the interlocking. Now friction, due to this, friction can become our friend as well as our enemy also. It's a necessary evil, and all these examples you know. How do you reduce friction? You have to take care of the interlock. How do you take care of the interlock? If you don't want to do and mess up with the surfaces, you introduce one United Nations layer, which is a lubricant. And if you don't have your lubricant, then what do? You have to mess up with the surfaces, in which what you will do, you will make the surfaces smooth, and you make the surfaces smooth by polishing them and making sure that there is no irregularity present in them. Okay. Friction in solids are of three types. Static friction, the friction which happens when one body rests on another. And how do you measure static friction? Static friction force is the force at which a body just begins to move. After that, there is sliding friction. Sliding friction is the friction that is encountered when one body slides over another body. There will be friction, but sliding friction will be less than static friction. And then the minimum friction that you can have between two solids is rolling friction, in which you introduce wheels. And once you introduce wheels, the point of contact becomes very small. Jitna kam contact, utna kam friction, right? So the wheels reduce the friction, allowing heavy body movement much more easier. Concept of this is also used in ball bearings, which are used on hubs and rotating shafts. Like they can be in your fan, they can be in your shafts in your cycle, in your vehicle. So those the entire body rests on a series of balls rather than resting on the entire surface on which it has to rotate. That was all about friction in solids. Then we encountered friction in liquids. Friction in fluids. Fluids are of two types, liquids and gases. Anything that flows is known as fluid. Friction can be now defined as a drag force. Whenever it comes to fluids, we call friction force as drag force. Drag forces are seen when you walk on water, as well as when you are traveling and the air breezes against you. These reduces your velocity or your speed and causes difficulty to your motion. In order to overcome that, you make the structure of your body aerodynamic by making it streamlining. Streamlining is the special shape given to bodies which encounter drag. Due to streamlining, drag reduces. As a result, efficiency improves. Yes, sir.
So in water, there is
you have to, that's why you get tired.
sometimes, but how are we able to fix it?
That's because the more efficient you have to be, the more aerodynamic. That's why when you dive and you want to slide forward, will you put your hands like this? They ask you to move your hands as shape, as like a spear shape. The more your hands are, the more you open up, the more drag you will be feel. If you dive, you don't dive with your chest on the water. That will be very, very hurt you a lot. So how do you dive? You try to make a knife edge with your fingers so that you get in with the least amount of your body in contact. And friction is there. You are swimming in swimming pool. Swimming pool is known as stagnant. In swimming pool, you can swim from here to here. But if suppose you are in the Ganges and you think that you will be swimming from here to here, you will start from here. You think you are going here. We from outside will see you somewhere here. Because the water has already dragged you. There the drag force, suppose the current is flowing in this direction and you have to swim in this direction. That's why they say swimming in swimming pool is much more easy. But when you swim in rivers where there is a current, then a lot of drag force will fail. And then you're tired. You will get very tired because you're overcoming friction every time. Yes or no? How many of you have seen the traditional chakki in which, so if you see the traditional chakki and somebody gives you something to, grind out there, after some time automatically sweat will come out because you are rigorously undergoing friction. So sweat will come out of your head. ठीक है, चले अगले टॉपिक पे. Okay, so ये आराम से पढ़ते रहिए because once all people get adjusted at their new places during the holidays, we have covered force, we have covered friction, we have covered rational number. What does that mean? अभी भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. अर्णव, क्या इसका मतलब क्या है? What does this mean? हाँ, We have covered force, we have covered friction, we have covered rational number. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब है टेस्ट का मिसाइल बहुत जल्दी आने वाला है, होना ही है. So all of you, अच्छा, just for your information, once like Nivedita will be joining back, Avyan will also join us back from next classes. Is there a travel for any one of you right now? In May. Right now you don't have a travel in May, okay? So wherever you go, you'll be again getting online, okay? So in May, if you're going on holiday, apart from you have got soft copies of your books, you just, test is always on a separate copy, like that Uzer wala copy size. You will maintain one test copy. It can be a big, because there will be many tests. So it is preferably good that you maintain a big copy only for your test. Not that thick. It can be less thick, but keep it blank. White papers, yeah, white, because we'll have both maths and science test on one copy, but it will not be that big copy. It is like a long copy. Maintain one test copy. So on the day of test, you will write your tests, and then you submit here. It gets checked. You take back home, and after the next class, you can come and keep your test copies here. Test, so that you don't forget the day the test is. Sir, I did not bring my test copies. You can keep your test copies in my classroom itself, right? So there is no chance that you will forget your test copies, unless and until you are traveling. And when you travel, how to attend the test, that also I will tell you. Okay? But we will announce. There won't be any surprise test for you. But you start learning rational numbers. Now see, in rational numbers, I gave you some worksheets. That does not mean that is the end of rational numbers. If you are in old course, you have your R.S. Agarwal, do your problems from R.S. Agarwal. If you are in new course, then also you have your R.D. Sharma. But in new course, I don't know whether you have rational numbers from new course. You can take up, you can go to the internet also and pull up worksheets from there also, right? But do those. Similarly, that is for force. Whether you're in an old course or new course, study force, study friction. And if you're in a new course, then the Lakshmi Singh is updated. I've kept it on Teams. You can read it from there. Yeah. So you can read from there. You can read your new book. So, and I said it will be topic wise. So forces means we have learned about contact, non-contact forces. 3 type of contact forces we have studied: muscular force, frictional force. Any other contact force? No. These 2 other contact force we have studied. Frictional force very much in detail. Non-contact we have studied gravitational force and magnetic force, and this. Okay. Now the next thing that we will study, today's topic will be about the concept of mass and weight. Though this used to be in grade 9, the way they have introduced in grade 8, if you ask me, I'm not that happy, because it's just, they have told you in a very short form. Even if you learn that, you'll be scoring marks, but you will not understand anything. So let's have a detailed discussion on mass and weight. धीरे धीरे पढ़ते हैं और समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. This is something that many elders who might be in job, they also will goof up the way they question them. Mass. So let's talk about, let's have a nice mango. Okay, so we have a mango, right? Our first question is the mass of this mango. What do we mean by mass of the mango? Mass of the mango. Okay, the mass of the mango means actually the matter content in it. The matter content. How much of matter do you have? And what can be the matter? The matter can be, yeah. That is the dangerous thing. That is the kitabi knowledge will actually not help you. I'll ask you one question, then you answer me. You go and buy tomatoes into the shop. What you bought by mass or you bought by weight?
Weight, kilogram.
What is your weight? Roughly 30, 35 kg, 40 kg. Then what is your mass? यही कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं आंसर कर पाते हैं लोग. इसको समझते हैं पहले. बुक में डेफिनेशन रहेगा, उसको याद करने से आपकी क्लैरिटी नहीं हो पा रही है. ठीक है, इसको क्लियर से समझते हैं. So mass is the matter content. Your matter content can be what? Pulp. There can be juice. There can be peel. There can be leaves. Right? All these are matter. All these are matter. Some sort of gases are also there in the mango. Yeah, there will be gases. Okay. So dissolved gases will be there. Otherwise, how are you getting the smell? Right? So all these contribute to what is known as the mass of the mango. Mass का मतलब होता है, mass means what is the content of matter in a body. What is the content of matter in a body? ये clear हुआ आपको, right? Now say suppose what we do, we take this mango and we go to moon. हम moon में जाते हैं, this is moon, और moon में हम फिर इस mango को देखते हैं. Ask yourself a question. Will the leaves of the mango fall? No, the two leaves remain unless and until you pluck them. Okay? ये डंठल रहेगा कि नहीं? The stem रहेगा, peel रहेगा, juice रहेगा, pulp रहेगा, gas भी रहेगा. Now the first question that you should answer, हमने लोकेशन बदला, ठीक है ना? हम कहाँ पे थे बेटा? हम अर्थ पे थे, हम अर्थ से गए मून पे, और मून में वही हमारा मैंगो दोबारा यहाँ पे है, right? Now the question is, do you expect the mass to reduce or gain when you went to moon? Right? Because why? The question is why? Because the content of matter did not change. Right? तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? So we take it to moon, और moon में जाने के बाद, this is moon, हम इसकी mass को दोबारा check करते हैं. Okay, we again check what is the mass, and we find that the mass is unchanged. And how do you find it? आपको कोई measure करने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप एक, you just remember one thing, mass is the content of matter. Unless आपने थोड़ा सा काट के चख लिया इसको, इसका mass घट सकता है? नहीं. ये सड़ा भी नहीं. No, and you've taken it in a very protective manner, and you took it to moon. Has the mass reduced? No, right? So from moon we start our journey and we go to another planet or another celestial body called Mars. और Mars में हम फिर इस आम को देखते हैं. Okay? इसका मास क्या होगा? मार्स में इसका मास क्या होगा? अनचेंज रहेगा. इसका मास कैसा रहेगा? अनचेंज रहेगा, क्योंकि अभी भी इसको किसी ने खाया नहीं है, कुछ नहीं. तो यहां से हमें मिला वन ऑब्जर्वेशन, मास इज यूनिवर्सली कांस्टेंट. यानी इसका मतलब क्या है? Remains same. Mass is universally constant or remains same. Any questions here? Have you understood now? This is the point which we write when we say distinguish between mass and weight. Then we write this point. Mass is universally constant. और इसके पहले हम एक और statement लिखेंगे. Mass is a measure of the content of matter in a body. एक बॉडी में कितना मैटर है? In this mango, how much of matter is there? That is a measure of mass. So first we defined what is mass, then we talked about a property of mass, that if you change location from one place to another, the mass does not change and it remains constant. ठीक है? अब वेट तो अभी पढ़ा ही नहीं है. वेट तो गल्ला क्यों कर रहे हो? वेट तो पढ़े ही नहीं है, अभी तो सिर्फ मास पे बात चल रही है. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. अब मास को मेजर करने के लिए इसे हमें मेजर करना पड़ेगा. इसको मेजर करने के लिए वी हैव टू यूज सम SI यूनिट. यू रिमेंबर व्हाट इज SI यूनिट? International System Unit, System International, so that the world recognizes the same unit. The SI unit is kilogram. Kilogram, and so it will be denoted by a small k and a g. This is the measure of mass. And you should also have some devices in which you can measure mass. You can measure it in a physical balance. Physical balance is usually seen in a jeweler's shop. Have you gone to a jeweler's shop ever? ज्वेलरी की दुकान में गए हैं तो उसमें देखा है ऐसे, हाँ, बॉक्स के अंदर मेजर करते हैं ना. एक बॉक्स के अंदर एक छोटा सा तराजू जैसा रहेगा. So that why do they measure it in box? Because they are measuring very small quantity. Air and other things should not disturb the measurement, and the guy will put a finger and he will just, so we use what is known as a physical balance. Or you can also use something which is known as a beam balance. Beam balance is the typical tarazu. Nowadays you don't see. If you go to villages you will see. दो कटोरा रहता है ना, चेन. हाँ, जो ऐसे ऐसे होता है, बट नॉट दैट बिग, छोटे छोटे लेबोरेटरी में रहता है. इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल, लाइक 2 brass containers will be there, chain rings will be there, very small tarazu. There also you can measure mass. Spring balance is a different device. There also you can measure mass and weight. Slowly, अभी आप वेट करेंगे फिर सब क्लियर हो जाएगा. Beam balance, you can also use electronic gauge, like typical nowadays the ones that you have in switch shops. स्विच शॉप में देखा है ना, एक इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गेज के ऊपर बिठा के ऐसा पेड़े डालते रहता है, टक 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 करके. दैट इज ऑल्सो. मेनी ऑफ यू आर यॉर्निंग, या तो खाना नहीं खा के आए हो या फिर देर से उठे हो. हाँ, तो देर नहीं होगा, मैं तो बोलता ही हूँ देर से उठने से. तो दिस इज अबाउट मास. अंडरस्टूड? सो मास इज अ कंटेंट ऑफ मेजर इन अ बॉडी. मास रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट यूनिवर्सली. मास can be measured with devices like physical balance, beam balance, electronic gauge, and the SI unit of mass is kilogram. समझ में आया? ठीक है. अब वेट में जाने से पहले एक और कॉन्सेप्ट समझेंगे, उसके बाद वेट में घुसेंगे और फिर मास में दोबारा आएंगे. चले, आइए अब दो कॉन्सेप्ट समझते हैं. द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन वर्सेस ग्रेविटी. हाँ, ये विषय आ गया, ग्रेविटेशन वर्सेस ग्रेविटी. इसको समझिए, आराम से समझिए. ग्रेविटेशन जो है ना, दिस इज अ यूनिवर्सल कॉन्सेप्ट. अरे ग्रेविटेशन इज ए यूनिवर्सल कॉन्सेप्ट, इसलिए बोल रहा हूं. आप लिखते जा रहे हैं. यू ऑल हैव अ हैबिट ऑफ नॉट. इफ आई राइट नाउ ग्रेविटेशन इज रावण एंड ग्रेविटी इज राम, आप वो भी लिख डालोगे. आप समझो ना. सी, वेयर इज योर नेम ऑफ योर साइंस बुक इज व्हाट? क्यूरोसिटी. वेयर इज द क्यूरोसिटी यू आर शोइंग? यू आर ओनली शोइंग अनवांटेड आंसरिंग्स. इसको समझो. साइंस इज ऑल अबाउट क्वेश्चनिंग. साइंस इज ऑल अबाउट लर्निंग. सर, ग्रेविटेशन और ग्रेविटी, आपने लिखा यूनिवर्सल कॉन्सेप्ट. लिख रहा हूं, आप लिखते जा रहे हो. मैं ऐसे नहीं पढ़ाता हूं बेटा. ऐसे पढ़ना है तो देयर आर मेनी अदर क्लासेस हु विल जस्ट टीच यू द टॉपिक, मेक सम क्वेश्चन आंसर्स, गिव यू होमवर्क. डोंकी बनोगे और कुछ नहीं बनोगे. फिर आज से 17 years or 10 years बाद again one plumber will come and cheat you and go, and you will happily get cheated, and you will post his advisory on the WhatsApp tower forum also. Guys, the plumber just said there is a airlock. और पूरा दुनिया एयरलॉक कर रहा है. कोई एयरलॉक नहीं है, उसने पंप ही नहीं चलाया, तुमको एड़ा बनाया और तुम एड़ा बनते जा रहे हो. तो तुम्हारे पास ज्ञान ही नहीं है, तुम तो किताब के चतुर्लिंगम हो ना. सीखो. ग्रेविटेशन इज ए यूनिवर्सल कॉन्सेप्ट. When we come to, yeah.
I thought gravity was the short form of gravitational force.
No, your thought is wrong. So let's understand. And when you talk of gravity, you're talking in terms of a typical planet or a celestial body. Right? When you're talking in terms of gravitation, it's a universal concept. When you're talking in terms of gravity, it's a planet or any celestial body. That means gravity also applies to the planet where we are there, which is Earth. Do you agree? Gravitation is universal. पूरे ब्रह्मांड में अप्लाई होता है. Is our Earth in that universe? Huh? See, now you are not answering. Children, you decide here at your home. I mean, you want to learn science or you want to go by. I'm saying something again. I want you to close your books. Just close your books. Close your books. No writing. No writing. No writing. Close your books. I'm asking you a question that gravitation is a universal concept. That means it applies to the whole universe. Does it apply to the Earth? Yes. So let us put our Earth also out here. So question arises, sir, यहाँ भी है, यहाँ भी है, तो फिर डिफरेंस क्या है? इसको समझने के लिए let us now understand what is gravitational force. Let us understand this. Suppose you have any two bodies in the universe, any two body, Uranus, Mars, you and a cow, mouse and a goat, table and a chair, any two bodies in the universe, any two bodies that you can think of, one bacteria and another bacteria, any two bodies. Every body in this universe attracts every other body. This is body 1, this is body 2. Body 2 attracts body 1 and body 1 also attracts body 2. So the question now arises, sir, are you attracting me right now? Yes. Am I attracting you right now? Yes. Then sir, why do we not see any change? Why am I not moving towards you, or why am I not getting repelled? Gravitational force is always an attractive force. अब अपने knowledge को लगाओ ना काम पे. तभी तभी तो पढ़ा था पिछले में, क्या पढ़ा था? Gravitational force is always attractive. So this force is always attractive. This is being attracted towards this. Then why is Swayamrath not coming towards me, or I am not going towards him?
Mass is very.
Yes, mass is very less. Very good. ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स के इंपैक्ट को देखने के लिए द फोर्स ऑफ ग्रेविटी इज वेरी वेरी वीक. अगेन आई एम सेइंग ग्रेविटी, द फोर्स, that's how people interchange. The gravitational force is a very weak force. In engineering, when we design anything, like we are designing a car or a building or anything, we do not consider this force also. ये इतना वीक है क्योंकि अगर मैं यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा डक लेके आऊं और यहाँ पे एक और डक लेके आऊं और मैं बोलूं इन दोनों के बीच में ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स है, एज पर फिजिक्स है, तो ये डक जाकर चिपक जाना चाहिए, नहीं चिपकता है. द रीजन इज देयर मास इज वेरी लेस. लेकिन वहीं अगर मैं इस बॉडी को मार्स बना दूं और इस बॉडी को, सपोज मार्स क्यों बना रहा हूं आप ही के लिए अच्छा एग्जांपल, इसको मैं अर्थ बना दूं और इसको मैं मून बना दूं, then there is a huge gravitational force between them, and that's why the moon is orbiting the earth. या फिर मैं यहाँ पे अगर एक छोटा सा सैटेलाइट भी लॉन्च कर दूं ना अर्थ के ऊपर, मेरे अर्थ के ऊपर, वो इसी अर्थ को घूम रहा है, बाहर नहीं जाता है. After a few days, so this is called, after a few days the satellite, if you want, suppose how did we release Chandrayaan? We have released this from earth, it had to go to moon. So the Chandrayaan, and Chandrayaan will first, we will first release it so that it gets out of the Earth's gravitational pull. ताकि ऊपर, when your mom used to throw you up, used to come down, right? Chandrayaan cannot come down, so it has to be first ejected out of Earth. After you eject out of Earth, it will fall on Earth's gravitational orbit. So it will keep on orbiting the Earth for 1 or 2 days, and then it will again fire. The engines will fire, and that's we call translunar injection. We will go and inject into the lunar orbit. हम इस ऑर्बिट में we will go and inject into this orbit, and this Chandrayaan will then fire and then छपाक 1 राउंड पर जाके इस पे ऑर्बिट करेगा. अब इसके ग्रेविटी के अंदर आ गया, समझ में आया? इसको छोड़ देगा, and then slowly the moon is also pulling it. It will reduce its firing, and slowly by its action it will land on the desired spot in moon. Have you understood? So when we talk about gravitational force, it's a very weak force. And the gravitational force is there between any two bodies as long as the bodies have got mass between them. The impact of it is seen when the masses are very very high. जब मास बहुत ज्यादा होता है तभी आपको ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स दिखता है. बोलिए. क्योंकि वो लैंड ही नहीं करेगा, इतना ऊपर में हम छोड़ दिया है ना. We will see क्यों नहीं लैंड करता है वो भी हम देखेंगे. That force depends also upon the distance you are from the planet. जितना डिस्टेंस बढ़ता जाएगा, the pull reduces. The more far you go away, the pull reduces. So we have put it in an orbit where it will no more come, but it will orbit the Earth, and then it will fire again, so that it gets out of the Earth's gravitational pull and form. That is called translunar injection. You are injecting it into the lunar orbit. Yes, बोलिए. सन का ग्रेविटेशनल पुल के लिए ही हम भी अपने जगह पे हैं और इसीलिए हम ऑर्बिट कर रहे हैं. नाउ ऑल दिस डिस्कशंस लीड अस टू समथिंग मोर इंटरेस्टिंग. एक थोड़ा सा और इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन हो गया है. क्या है वो इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन? कुछ ऐसा, जरा सोचो. मैंने आपको अभी बोला टू बॉडीज विल ऑलवेज हैव अ ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स, बट देयर कैन बी मल्टीपल बॉडीज ऑल्सो ना इन एंड अराउंड. अग्रीड? ये इसको खींच रहा है, ये इसको खींच रहा है, everyone is pulling. Ultimately they will all come and set into a form of equilibrium. Like in water, if you release magnets, 4-5 magnets, they will all take up a shape. That's how it is happening. That's how. Why is your solar system like that? Why are all planets not at one place? So the distribution of forces is such that everyone is being pulled by everyone, and finally we see the picture that you are seeing. Have you understood? So a gravitational force is a universal concept which is exhibited by every planet, every celestial body. And if you are a celestial body, then you will have a gravitational force on any other body. As long as the masses are more, the gravitational force can be felt or it cannot be felt. ठीक है? तो पहला कॉन्सेप्ट देखते हैं, अर्थ वर्सेस मून, राइट? Both of them attract each other. Both of them attract each other. You know why high tides? Tide आप जानते हो? पानी ऊपर. If you go to Bombay, then on Bombay there's a place called Worli. In Worli you have a Haji Ali Dargah. That Haji Ali Dargah, you go to that Dargah through a concrete pavement which is on the sea. It is on Worli. और अगर आप आफ्टर टाइड के दिन आफ्टरनून तक वहां पे प्रेयर करके वापस नहीं आए ना, आप शाम को ही आएंगे, because the tide will come and it will, you can Google Haji Ali Dargah tide days. So you will see the Dargah with that beautiful road, and some days you will see the Dargah there is no road, पूरा पानी है उसके ऊपर. The moon comes very close to the earth and the moon will pull up the water level of the earth, इसीलिए पानी ऊपर. So if you have consignments which have to go by sea, typically in India these consignments are released from Gujarat docks. Okay, if it has to go by sea, suppose हमें sea में कोई चीज ईरान में भेजना है, the consignment will usually be released on high tide days, because in high tide the docks will rise up. It is easy for heavy ships and barge to float out. समझ में आ रहा है? हाई टाइड नहीं रहेगा तो पानी नीचे उतर जाएगा, नीचे. हाँ, ज्यादा होता नहीं, दोनों के बीच में एक पुल है, and now it is balanced. Both pulls are equal. Please understand. Every body attracts every other body with the equal amount of force. Equal, हाँ, equal. उसी में आ रहे हैं अभी. मून और अर्थ इक्वल में पुल करेगा, लेकिन इंपैक्ट ज्यादा किस पे दिखेगा? मून पे दिखेगा, बिकॉज उसका मास अर्थ के मास से कम है. नाउ जस्ट ब्रिंग दिस डिस्कशन. ये है अर्थ, अब मून को छोड़ दो, और ये है हमारा बच्चा सा शनाया पांडा. इसको, ये अभी बच्ची है, सब लोग इसको ऐसे प्यार कर रहे हैं, तो अर्थ से ऊपर ही तो भेज रहा है. इज शी अट्रैक्टिंग द अर्थ? Yes. Is the earth attracting her? Yes. Are the forces equal? Yes. Movement is seen in whom? Her. Why? Because her mass is less. इसी शनाया पांडा को छोड़ के अगर यहां पे एक हेवियर प्लैनेट लेके आ जाओ अर्थ के 12 टाइम, अर्थ उसकी तरफ पुल होगा. समझ में आ रहा है? But when the moon comes nearer, as I said, the more near you come, the impact of the force is seen more. Therefore, the water is pulled up. थोड़ा सा rise होता है. So this is gravitational force. Now we are extending the topic of gravitational force between Earth and our friend Shania. Now we are in Earth and this. In physics, is this a body? Is this a body? When you are limiting your discussion to only a planet, this gravitational force will now take the name as force of gravity. आप कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ रहा है? जब आप एक प्लैनेट और एक ऑब्जेक्ट के बीच में बात करते हैं, then we say it as force of gravity. This thing will happen when we take Shania to moon also. Just the thing is that she will be coming down very slowly. This thing will happen when we take her to Mars also. Maybe a little bit faster than moon, slower than Earth. समझ में आ रहा है? So if we go to moon, we will call force of gravity of moon. If we are on Mars, we will call force of gravity of Mars. If we are in Earth, we say force of gravity of Earth. और नहीं बोलते हैं, अर्थ ही में है ना, तो force of gravity बोलते हैं. अब सवाल आता है, he is not wrong. Is it a gravitational force? Yes. ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स का नाम ऐसा हो गया है ना कि हम जब दो सेलेस्टियल बॉडीज को देखते हैं तभी हम यूज करते हैं ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स. Understood? Now between Earth and Mars there is an attraction. अगर मैं उसे फोर्स ऑफ ग्रेविटी बोलूं तो किसका ग्रेविटी बोलूं? अर्थ का बोलूं या मार्स का बोलूं? कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है. So there we use the name gravitational force. But when we are seeing between Earth and the kite, Earth and the ball, So now the question comes, everything you throw from the earth, it always comes back to you. मतलब कोई तो force है, there is some sort of juju in the earth which is pulling that object down. That is the gravitational force between the earth and the object. But since earth shows it for everything, we call it with a special name. The name is force of gravity. At this juncture, do you know when to use this name and when to use this name? Tell me that answer only. Rohan, don't give me that vague look. You have to participate. Do you know the difference between these two? It's not that you can't speak or you don't speak. Yeah.
Gravity is used for celestial bodies.
Yeah, correct. Go ahead. Any two bodies which have got mass. Between two celestial bodies, gravitational force. Between two ducks, gravitational force. Between you and me, gravitational force. But between earth and you, gravitational force, but we give it a special name called force of gravity. Between you and moon, force of gravity. Between moon and earth, then also we can say force of gravity, but whose? So better we use the word gravitational force. ये चीज समझ में आया? Okay. I don't know, we have less time today. We can't end this topic. Okay. So now we come back to earth. And using the concept of gravitational force, right? This body also attracts this body also attracts this body. This all you will study in grade 9. But the second force we don't study so much here in grade 8. Since the mass of the earth is more, you see the impact like this. आपको impact ऐसा दिखता है कि this ball is slowly going to come down. Yes or no? Right? And this is coming down due to something which is known as the force of gravity. The force of gravity is the force with which earth pulls every object towards its center. ये center में एक जुजू है. And the juju is saying, लाओ इसको हमारे पास, जो भी ऊपर जाता है ले आओ मेरे पास, ले आओ मेरे पास. This ले आओ मेरे पास depends on the mass of the body. Now imagine, obviously you will not throw a body heavier than earth. Maximum you will be throwing is a aloo, pyaz, cricket ball, football, or some person. Nothing more than that. You can't even throw a car upwards, right? So it depends upon the mass. अगर आप किसी हल्का टेनिस बॉल छोड़ोगे, तो the force with which it will be coming, the force of gravity, you will feel that the force of gravity is less. लेकिन वहीं अगर आप प्रतीत पुजारी को ऊपर से छोड़ोगे, so you will find that the force of gravity is much more. Are you understanding? This force of gravity is analogous to something called weight. हाँ, वहां एक नया ही सेइंग, अगर हम स्टार्टिंग से ही टेनिस बॉल को एक वेलोसिटी दे दे, वही तो सैटेलाइट में देते हैं हम. दैट वेलोसिटी इज कॉल्ड एस्केप वेलोसिटी. इतना वेलोसिटी देंगे कि अर्थ का जुजू उसको बुला ही नहीं सकता है. अदरवाइज व्हाई इज द सैटेलाइट गोइंग अप एंड नॉट कमिंग डाउन? दैट्स अ वेरी हाई स्पीड, 11.22 meters per second. That is called the escape per second. It is going at that speed. That is called escape velocity. Every planet has an escape velocity. You have to launch much more than escape velocity. That's why when you fire a rocket, you will first see the booster rockets firing up. शूं करके जो ले जाता है, those are liquid fuel और liquid heavy होता है. They will take you only up to a level, and then have you seen, they will disengage and they will fall. They'll fall into the sea. Usually they fall. अभी इंडिया का दो गिर के श्रीलंका के शोर्स में आके गिरा है, इसरो लिखा हुआ है. So they will fall into the sea. Then the weight has to get reduced, right? So what we use, solid propellant. You will have solid fuel. Solid fuel is very light, and that will be burnt. Mission Mangal movie आपने देखा है? Please देखिए. So they will fire only when required, because right now they have their, yeah, tell me. देखा, very good. So they will, did you see the ladies frying the puris? She has got less gas. So she uses the heat itself. Last पूरी fry करने के लिए आपको गैस ऑन करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, तेल तो गर्म है. So you can use that much fuel and economize it. So that's how when we drive on hills and we are going down a gradient, आप क्यों एक्सीलेटर दे रहे हो? आपकी गाड़ी तो ऐसे ही नीचे जाएगी. You are driving foolish way. Okay. So the force, this weight is something like the force of gravity. That's why we say, what is weight? वेट इज अ फोर्स, हम कहते हैं वेट एक फोर्स है, फोर्स बाय विच अर्थ पुल्स एन ऑब्जेक्ट टू इट्स सेंटर। अब एक बात आता है, क्या सिर्फ अर्थ ही पुल कर सकता है अपने सेंटर पे? मून भी तो पुल करेगा। तो क्या मून में वेट हो सकता है? बिल्कुल हो सकता है। क्या मार्स में वेट हो सकता है? बिल्कुल हो सकता है। क्या नेपच्यून में वेट हो सकता है? बिल्कुल हो सकता है। लेकिन क्या उसी स्ट्रेंथ से पुल करेगा? वी डोंट नो अबाउट इट। तो अब हम ये नहीं कह सकते हैं कि वेट इज सेम एवरीवेयर। अब कोरिलेट करो साइंस को। मास में हमने क्या कहा था? मास इज सेम एवरीवेयर। नाउ द क्वेश्चन कम्स, व्हाई इज वेट नॉट सेम एवरीवेयर? वी डोंट नो, वी हैव नॉट स्टडीड सो फार। हमने ये सीखा है कि वेट इज द फोर्स बाय विच not only earth, any celestial body pulls any body to its center. Since you are on a goddamn planet called earth, you have defined that force as weight. If there were some people in Mars, they might call it as not weight, the force of gravity of Mars. Understood? You can also call it the force of gravity of earth, the force with which an earth, a planet like earth, pulls every body towards its center. Now our next question for the next class will be, does every planet pull the same body with the equal amount of force? If yes, then weight is also same everywhere. If no, then weight is not same everywhere. क्या ये अलग अलग है? हाँ, ये अलग अलग है। वो क्यों अलग अलग है वो अगले क्लास में देखेंगे। मास और वेट पढ़ा देने के लिए मुझे 5 मिनट में मैं आपको आपका टॉपिक पढ़ा सकता हूं, लेकिन आप ये सब आंसर नहीं कर। सी, द मोमेंट यू क्लोज्ड योर बुक्स, वी हैड वन नॉट क्वेश्चन फीडबैक फ्रॉम हिम, 1-2 questions from him, 1 question from you. Would you have asked this question if you would have been writing? But that does not mean you don't write. When the class ends and the video goes back to you, now look at the video and keep your questions ready. आपके साइंस बुक का नाम है क्यूरोसिटी। You are supposed to understand the topic as per your age. There is no point in ratifying some 11th class formula and trying to show Bahadur in class. Sir, I know there is a universal gravitational constant and there is a Newton's law of gravitation. ये तो रट्टू, फिर तोता। Idiot. Define a machine. A machine is a combination of pulleys over a lever that you know. वो नहीं चाहिए। Always be the educated tiger, not the well-trained tiger. ठीक है? तो अगले क्लास में हम देखेंगे। हमने इतना जस्ट जाना, मास हम समझ गए हैं, हमने जस्ट जाना वेट होता क्या है। क्या ये वेट हर जगह एक है? अगर हाँ तो क्यों? अगर ना तो क्यों? फिर हम देखेंगे कि दुकान में जब खरीदने जाते हैं, सामान वेट में खरीद रहे हैं या मास में खरीद रहे हैं। एंड वी हैव टू आंसर हिज क्वेश्चन कि हॉस्पिटल ने उसके कार्ड में न्यूटन क्यों नहीं लिखा। हॉस्पिटल में देखना आप, मास नहीं लिखा रहता है। व्हेन यू फिल अप अ फॉर्म, सो मेनी ऑफ यू प्ले स्पोर्ट्स, आप जब फॉर्म फिल अप करते हो उसमें मास रहता है क्या? कहीं भी ये भी बैडमिंटन खेलता है, क्या लिखा रहता है? वेट। मास तो नहीं लिखा रहता है, वेट लिखा रहता है। फिर अपन केजी क्यों लिखते हैं, न्यूटन क्यों नहीं लिखते हैं? हाँ, ये अगले क्लास में।